Hey guys, that's Ed here. Like a lot of people, I've been playing my wizard a lot lately, but I've been noticing certain trends arising once again, more specifically about running cookie cutter stuff and people sticking to old favorites like Archon or safe bets like the kiting heavy Frozen Orb. And that's completely understandable, but I would really like to put the word out there and stress that elemental damage affixes rolling on the various pieces of gear have made many skills more viable than ever. What I wanted to demonstrate today was another close range build, but this time focusing on the nearly forgotten Ray of Frost skill as a primary damage dealer. I really wanted to find a legendary offhand that makes it pierce through enemies, but until then I entertained myself with a build focused around the unusual yet very awesome Sleet Storm rune. The entire build is centered around supporting fighting up close with Sleet Storm. Frost Nova with Shatter will spread freezing death around your enemies like a plague, since you'll kill them very quickly with Sleet Storm and Cold Blooded working together. Your Icicle Familiar will freeze your enemies and proc Cold Blooded. Your Ice Armor will freeze your enemies and also proc Cold Blooded, and even add a small damage boost through the Frozen Storm rune. Slow Time with Time Warp and Magic Weapon with Force Weapon serve as damage amplifiers, and the passive Blur and Dominance serve as additional protection when going in close range. One important thing to note is this build will become even better in the expansion, since you get access to Unwavering Will, which makes it so that standing still will boost your stats immensely and you are stationary when using Sleet Storm, and Audacity, which is a close range damage amplifier which is perfect for the build. Let me quickly show you the items. You have seen 99% of them in my older videos about the Disintegrate melee build, and I wish I had more items to support my new build at the time of making the video, uh, but I'm definitely going to try and craft a wizard hat and rare boots since both of these slots can roll percentage damage to Ray of Frost. The only item I truly have that boosts the build is the cold damage Stone of Jordan. All in all, not having items to support the build should actually be further proof that the skills are very decent on their own, and nothing should be disregarded outright as unviable in Loot 2.0. I'll actually go ahead and demonstrate it without cheating the difficulty with a lifesteal scorn. I'll use this heavy hitting two-hander with lots of life on hit. This is how I spent my Paragon points: intelligence and movement speed in the core section, critical hit chance and critical hit damage in offense, resist all and life in defense, and life on hit and area damage in utility. This is all about the build. Now let's show it off in action. The build mostly sustains itself. Keep Ice Armor, Familiar, and Magic Weapon up at all times. Be careful with your placement of Frost Nova because it will determine if and how quickly the Shatter rune spreads. Also make a point to use your slow time as often as you can. I'm actually making a mistake in the video by not doing that. It's only because I'm not used to having the skill on my list. You can also consider adding an Arcane Spender instead of the slow time. A Meteor or Arcane Orb. I didn't because I felt it disrupted the flow of the gameplay, but it's totally up to personal preference here. Sometimes it's more beneficial to cast the Frost Nova after you've channeled Sleet Storm for a second or two, especially on higher difficulties, where the health of the mobs is higher. This will ensure that the Shatter rune actually comes into effect with a grand chain of frozen enemies. You'll see me take a bit long against elites. Honestly, I'm doing Torment 6 more to prove a point. First, that Sleet Storm is a cool and powerful skill, and second, that lifesteal isn't mandatory for a quirkier build like that. If I put it to Torment 5, I'd be having a much easier time, but as you'll see, I still kill the elite with no deaths. You just have to be alert and maneuver around its affixes. It's absolutely doable. I hope you enjoyed the build and will consider using Sleet Storm with your wizard, or that I at least encouraged you to try out new things. If you enjoyed what you saw, I would appreciate your subscription to my daily content about Diablo 3, and I also hope to see you live on Twitch TV/TheThatSaid. With the release of Reaper of Souls, I'll begin streaming full time, and if you enjoy theory crafting and pure gameplay, I guarantee that you'll like my stream. That's all from me guys, and see you next time.